Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for The Walking Dead Season 5. And today what I'm going to be doing is predictions for what is going to happen in tomorrow's episode, Spend. This is going to be based off of the two sneak peeks that I watched and, the promo and just some other things that may come in from the comics. So if you're not caught up with the show or if you don't know anything about the comics, you don't want to be spoiled in any way, don't watch the video or else you will be spoiled. Okay. So first, I'm going to start with the sneak peeks. The first one that I saw was with Tara and Eugene, and basically they're out doing some kind of a mission. Tara kills a walker, and then her and Eugene start talking, and they basically discuss, that Eugene is not pulling his weight necessarily, or that he needs to start pulling his weight and basically Eugene kind of countering that, and it's nice that we get to hear from Eugene. We really haven't heard from him much since, back in the fifth episode of season 5. Whenever Abraham knocked him out, after he revealed he's not a scientist. So, it's nice that we get to hear from him, but what exactly is going to happen with this character? It's hard to say. I think my hope is that he becomes stronger because right now he's still acting like Eugene normally does. And he basically tells Tara like, "Hey, I got you guys here. It was my idea to come to Washington D.C. in the first place, and we found this wonderful community. So hey, you guys should be happy. I mean, you shouldn't be, throwing this all on me." And Tara's like, "Dude, are you kidding me? Like, you lied, and not only that, we got you here." Eugene kind of has like this belief that he because he suggested the idea, he should get all the credit, and they shouldn't be on him as much as he is. But you can't ignore the fact that he did lie, and as a result of his lie, people died trying to get him this far, including Bob. And I don't know whether he has kind of pushed that behind him. But it definitely is interesting. But it also demonstrates that what he says at the end of the conversation is clear. He says he's a coward, that he told her that and that that's just who he is. And I think that this is a spot where Eugene can definitely be worked on, which is why I don't think they're going to kill his character off this season. I think that he's pretty much going to be around for several more seasons as we try to build him up a little bit because he really has proven that he is a coward. And the thing is, you're going to have all sorts of different kinds of people in the Walking Dead world. That's just the way it works. And I think that Eugene can only grow from here. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. But I think that, maybe there's a chance that he might get the moment to act as a hero again. Maybe saving Tara during something that goes wrong. Could be a bunch of things. So we'll have to see. Because with the promo, it kind of shows Eugene holding a gun, and then he's saying things like, "I'm not taking the blame for this," or there's a couple of other things, but it's kind of muffled. I can't really hear it too well. But I think that maybe something might go wrong. It seems like several different people are outside of the gates doing something. Abraham, in particular, with a group of people. And what I think that is the construction crew. One of the things in the comics that Abraham does is he's a part of the construction crew. And what ends up happening is they go out and they basically get building materials to build up a wall or build something that they might need. And you see them in the promo shooting at things, which I'm assuming are walkers. And maybe Eugene perhaps might end up saving people because it seems like there's a lot of them. Because it seems like I think there's about somewhere between 8 and 10 people, including Abraham, shooting at the walkers, and it's like something must be up. I mean, it must be a big herd, and maybe Eugene might play a factor in that. Maybe he might not. They might have to save some people. We also see that Glenn and Noah are outside the walls as well, and I think that might play a factor. Who knows? Eugene and Tara might end up having to save them. So definitely a lot of things to wonder on that end, but I think that something big will go down there. I don't know what, but this is hopefully a possibility for Eugene to, become a little bit more brave and become a better character. So we'll see what happens. And then the other sneak peek is of Rick and Pete talking, and Pete kind of being, he's drinking a beer, so he is drinking, and him and Rick are kind of having a conversation, and kind of like both know that something's going on with the other, like they both kind of suspect each other of something. You can just tell by their demeanor and the way that they are, and I definitely think this is going to be a great scene. But what brings it about is the question: are they discussing the potential that maybe Pete saw the kiss that Rick gave Jesse, or maybe that Jesse told him, or maybe he looks and he sees that maybe Jesse's talking about Rick and it makes him uncomfortable? That's a possibility. And Pete kind of walks in and says, Rick, we've lost a lot. It may look like we're living in a great community and it may look like everything's great, but we have lost things. And he suggests that Rick brings the kids over to get checkups and tells them, let's be friends because we kind of have to. Well, I know something's up. And there is another possibility to that. It may not have anything to do with the kiss. Or, maybe it might, or it might have to do with maybe Jesse keeps talking about Rick and it's making Pete uncomfortable, very insecure about his relationship and his marriage with Jesse. But the other thing that I was thinking about is maybe Rick sees a telltale sign of potential abuse by Pete. Because one of the factors that, builds into the comics is that Pete was physically abusing Jesse and Ron. Because Sam isn't in the comics. This is an added television character. But Pete was physically abusing them, and Rick sees that Ron has a black eye, and it kind of sets things in motion for what happens in the comics. And I think that there's a very good possibility that there may be more to that conversation than what we see. That there may be, that maybe they didn't start out talking like that, because obviously Rick either has to enter the house or Pete has to enter Rick's house. And I think that what's going to end up happening is that there's more to the conversation, and there may be a possibility that either Jesse, Ron, or Sam has signs of abuse. And the fact that Pete's drinking in that scene may indicate that, Pete's an alcoholic and that he does, haul off and hit one of them. And Rick sees this, and because Rick is a cop, he knows about things like this that happens. He has a little bit of knowledge, probably, may not be an expert, but his investigative instincts are going to kick in to investigate this matter and see what is going on. And perhaps it may lead to him realizing what Pete is doing. And I could see maybe at the end of the episode where he does bring it up to Deanna, because in the comics, Rick does bring this up to Douglas. He brings this to Douglas's attention, and Douglas goes, yeah, Pete's a little, abusive, a little hot-headed, and yeah, there's a possibility that that's going on, but we need him. He's a doctor, he's a surgeon, he's somebody that we need in the community, so we kind of been letting it slide for the greater good of the people. And I think that this may set into motion some of the things that'll happen in episode 15 and maybe even the mid-season finale. Sorry, not the mid-season, this is the season finale, where the Rick and Pete confrontation goes down. Because I think that Rick is going to bring it to Deanna's attention if she doesn't already know. And I think that that is going to be the kind of response that Rick gets that kind of sets into motion this place isn't really what we thought it was. People aren't working together. People are just as, sneaky, and people are just as dangerous inside the walls as they are outside the walls. And this is going to make them, maybe make Rick go about beating Pete up like he does in the comics. I think that's a showdown that definitely has to happen, and I think that it will in this upcoming couple episodes. Whether it'll happen, I don't think it'll happen next week. Maybe, but I find it to be rare, like a rare chance it will. I think there's still a little bit that they need to do, and I think that what they're going to do is set up the foundations for exploring the potential abuse that's going on, and then Rick, talks with Pete about it when Pete doesn't, become very receptive, and it makes Rick suspicious. He probably does go to Deanna, and Deanna tells him that, and that results in Rick investigating the matter. So definitely can't wait to see what's going on there. And then there's one other thing that I see that's going on, and that's with Gabriel. We do get to see Gabriel in this episode, and he was praying, and also saying something about how Satan disguises himself in a white light, things like that. I don't know what all that necessarily means or what it's going to do to play into the episode, but one of the things that I think they're going to do with Gabriel in this episode is something from the comics. In the comics, despite the fact that Rick's group, takes care of Gabriel, brings him to the Alexandria safe zone, protected him because the guy can't kill walkers, he decides to go to Douglas in the comics and tell him that all the bad things that Rick's people did. Because see, well, I guess in the television show you see it as well, but Gabriel witnesses them killing the hunters, and that results in Gabriel being like, these people are dangerous. You don't understand. Like, you got to kick them out. I'm the one good guy, and I was put in a bad position, and they're bad people. And I think that he's going to do something like that in this episode. That will follow the comics. What will be the ramifications of it later on? Not sure. But I think that that is something that will come up in the episode, and I think that that will be what they do with his appearance. And he may potentially go to Deanna and tell them, about Rick's group, and that Deanna is just going to dismiss him because Rick's group is needed. And she understands that this is a harsh world. People are going to do things that you may not approve of, but if it was what they needed to do to survive, I think that people understand. And again, you look back at a lot of the things that people have done, and it does, if you look at it a certain way, it rationally makes sense. So I think that he'll get shut down, but whether that'll get around, I'm not sure. It really didn't in the comics. Again, Gabriel is not really featured as much now in the comics, even though he is still alive. But my hope is that they continue to feature him in the television show, give him some kind of an important role, because I think that not using the character is just a waste. I think Seth Gillum is a great actor. He definitely deserves to have the time, so I'm hoping that they don't let him fade into the background. And those are some of the predictions that I think are going to happen. I'm going to bring this video to a close, and I want to thank all of you for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if you guys have any suggestions that you would like to see for next week or before the finale or even after the finale, don't be afraid to let me know. We are sadly approaching the end of season 5, and I don't know what I'm going to do too much with the channel after that, but we'll see. Maybe there's another show coming, but if you guys have any suggestions or any television shows you have any suggestions for, don't be afraid to leave them. Have a good day, guys, and thank you.